Hello and welcome to the show. Well, listen, I'm so glad you could join us today. We've been talking about new beginnings. Well, yes, it is new beginnings for everybody. The year is, wow, we're in the seventh, 10th month. We've got like 2 more months before the end of the year. But I've been talking about new beginnings all year because it's what God has purposed you to do. And it's time for you to step out, do it. Just do it. And so on today's show, we were supposed to be talking with Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson. However, there are some technical difficulties, as you know, which happens with us being in the areas that we are. So we're hoping that she's going to be able to join us in a little bit. But meanwhile, I just want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy, because guess what? You're just going to talk with me, and we're going to have a great show. We'll be right back.
Welcome to our Black Tie Masquerade. Join us for an evening of elegance. You don't want to miss it. Presented to you by Tammy McCautry of Tammy Media Group, LLC. This event is filled with amazing live music, and we can't forget the delicious dinner. And words to warm the heart through our special guest with their inspirational words. And oh yes, a whole lot of fun. Dance the night away, network, and don't forget to be merry. It's the Black Tie Masquerade, happening Saturday, October 21st, Orangeburg, South Carolina. Cocktails start at 6 p.m., following live music and dinner at 7. Get your tickets today at TammyMediaGroupLLC.com.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Hello everybody, it's Finkley of the Michael Finkley Show, and you're watching Gold right now. Why? You're watching The Tammy Show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the show. Well, I'm just glad you could join us. As I said, Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson, we're waiting for her to come on, and yes, she made it. And so technical difficulties, but she is with us. Listen, she's the founder of Past the Wholeness. She has her doctorate. I'm going to just let her tell you all about her and why she's here, because after all, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And, we always try to make sure that we bring topics that we want people to be aware of, we want the community to get involved in. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you not only to my dear friend Soror and dear friend Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson.
Good evening, and it's such a pleasure to be with you, and love back to you.
Yes. Sorry, Minnie. Listen, I am so glad that you could join us today. We had a few technical difficulties. I told people you were going to be on. So I want to talk with you. Let's start with, I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about who Reverend Minnie, Dr. Minnie Anderson is, or who is Minnie?
Well, Minnie is a woman that loves the Lord. I love food. I am a foodie. And I also love being with people. I love being outdoors. I love ministry. I love what God has called me to do.
And so where are you originally from?
Well, I, believe it or not, I was born in Williamsburg County, South Carolina. And my parents moved to well, my father was already in Maryland. My mom was expecting. So when I was born, after I was born, she left and went to Maryland. I was 6 months old at the time. And Maryland was home for me. I uh, had a call from God that in 1989 that I was moving to South Carolina. And of course, at that point, I was enjoying living in the city. I had no inkling that I would ever come to South Carolina. But the night that God told me I was coming, was in a really powerful ministry setting. And it was about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was praying and just celebrating the wonderful retreat we were in. And I said to the Lord that, this mother and daughter that were there, they were just so phenomenal. And I was so touched by their ministry. And the Lord said to me that I would be moving to South Carolina with my mother, who had already relocated back after they both retired. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that, Tammy, I'm telling you, I started crying because I was in pharmaceutical sales. I loved what I did. I loved the medical field. And I knew that if I left Maryland and went to South Carolina, the market may not be the same for me. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about that. I remembered in Williamsburg County, back in the day, there were no street lights, no pavement. It would have been a drastic change for me. And I just wasn't ready for it. So I was crying and I would say, oh God, I don't want to go. And I remember saying to the Lord, and this is true. I remember saying to the Lord, I want to talk to my sister. And when I did, the Lord had my sister to call me right then. And she said, God woke me up and told me to call you.
Wow.
Well, I'm telling you, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I said to her that God was calling me to South Carolina, you know what her words were?
Wow.
Is he telling you to go tonight?
I
said no. She said, well, go to sleep. Because when God is ready to send you, he will prepare you.
That's right.
And by the time God was ready to send me in 1993, my heart was prepared. I was looking forward to coming, and I was excited about the journey.
Wow. And a journey it has been for you. You're on because this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. And I wanted you to talk about your organization, Paths to Wholeness. So, I always start with asking folks, what really influenced you to start this organization? I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about Paths to Wholeness.
Well, Paths to Wholeness is a ministry that is dear to my heart. And one of the reasons is, first, let me just say, Paths to Wholeness is a transitional home for formerly incarcerated women. So we accept women from state prison or local detention centers. The reason this ministry is so dear to me is it encompasses domestic violence. So let me begin with this. I am a survivor of domestic violence. I was very young when I got married. I wanted my freedom to do what I wanted to do. My parents were very strict with us at that time, particularly my dad. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to just escape. I wanted to get out and live. And I thought if I got married, I could live and have fun and do things that I wanted to do. Well, the truth of the matter be told, on my wedding day, the domestic violence started. And it continued for 7 years. The only time that it didn't occur is when he was serving in Vietnam. And so by the time I was brave enough to leave, because it is not easy. People think, well, why don't you just leave? It's not easy to do that. Your life has been turned upside down. I wasn't allowed to work. I didn't have friends. I couldn't leave the house when he was gone. I mean, I was captive. I was held captive in my own home. And so um, my sister was a person who really encouraged me. You have to get out. I had lost weight. I was never a large frame person. So, but I had lost weight and I was 92 pounds. I was so malnourished because I didn't eat. I didn't have an appetite. I was really in health wise. I was not in good in a good state.
Yeah.
And
And
so, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so, what I have learned is that the majority of women that are incarcerated are victims of domestic violence. It may be in one form or another, um, but when you are victimized by intimate partner violence, which is known as IPV, it impacts every area of your life. It impacts you mentally, spiritually, physically. It impacts your social being. There's not one area that it does not touch.
And so, Pastor Wholeness was a vision
Mhm.
that came to you out of you wanting to help women just like
Yeah.
this. And so, when we talk about being able to help women who have been formerly incarcerated, what is it that you want the community to know as far as what the needs are? Because your organization is very unique in that you provide this transitional home and that women are able to come. But when they come, one of the things that I heard you say was they come with nothing.
They
And
come with
so
nothing.
how can the community understand that and what they need to do?
I think let's back up and, if I may,
Please.
and let me tell you why this is so dear. In addition to being victimized by domestic violence, it impacts your family. We had three sons, and they were well, two of them. My youngest son was an infant when I left, but two of them were impacted by the violence. My neighbor, I was living in Maryland, and my neighbor was also being abused by her husband. He found out that their 16-year-old daughter was pregnant, and he began to beat her. She was
Mm,
7 months pregnant when he was
mm,
beating her, and the neighbor tried to get him to stop, and he wouldn't. And he turned and started hitting her as well as the daughter. And she ran and found his gun and
mm,
shot him with his gun and
mm,
was
mm.
incarcerated. And she spent months in jail before she was arraigned, because back in the 60s, early 70s, the judicial system wasn't like it is today. So I had already left my marriage, and I got a call from her one day, and she said, "Why didn't I leave when you left?" And she wanted to talk, and she needed comforting, and I didn't know what to say to her. I
Mm,
was 19 years old. I didn't know, and that impacted my life. Throughout the years, I kept thinking, what could I have done? And how
mhm,
can I help women who are like her?
mhm.
And so, somewhere in the 80s, I wanted to do a transitional home. I didn't know how, I was a little afraid. And it never came to fruition until I came here, and God led me to do this. So, when when the women come into our home, and it's a home, not a house, and when they come
Yes.
in, they immediately say, wow, this looks like a house, like a home, someone's home. And I said, it's now your home, and I want
Mm,
them to feel that way. It's not
mhm,
an institution where they have 4 and 5 beds in a room. There are 2 twin beds per room. They have their own closet, their own drawers to put their items in. They share their 2 bathrooms, and 2 of them share each bathroom. They have a kitchen and a living space, so it's very comfortable.
mhm,
And it has a home atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that makes our home unique. The second thing that makes it unique is that we offer a multi-generational approach to rehabilitation. And what that means is that we offer them counseling, but not just for the woman, also for her young children. We thought we could offer it for young and older, even adult children, but we've not been able to tap into that segment yet. So
Mhm.
we've backed off and we're offering services to the woman that is in our home and her young children. And so we partner with community agencies such as Orangeburg County First Steps
Mhm.
and the mental health center here in Orangeburg, the Dawn Center, South Carolina Works, Voc Rehab. So we have, and several churches um, who help us with the rehabilitation process for the women that come in our home.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
that's what makes us unique. You spoke
That
about, pardon?
Yeah, no, no, no. You spoke of you were getting ready to say something, and I was getting ready to ask
You
you a
spoke
question.
of the need, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we do have needs. When the women come, um, for instance, we had one woman that was incarcerated for 30 years. She
Mm-hmm.
was a teenager when she went to prison, and when she came out, she didn't have the skill set to get a job. Well, let me back up. She did have skill set to work in food services, but she wasn't computer literate. And
Mm.
the prison had prepared her to work in food services. And they do have a really great rehabilitation um, platform in the prison here in
Mm-hmm.
Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And so the women that come from there have definitely benefited from their program. So we want to complement that. And so what we do is the skills that they're lacking, computer skills, communication skills. And that is important because talking on the phone and you're trying to get a job and you don't know what to ask. And so we help
Mm-hmm.
them with interviewing skills and questions that might be asked of them so they'll be prepared. We, I think one of the biggest things that I'm so pleased about with the women is that we help them to empower them to
Mm-hmm.
believe in themselves and to know that God is giving them a second chance. They can do
Right.
it.
That's
And
right.
that's what I believe is just so needed with this population.
Yeah, it is. And I want to start right there because we've got
Mhm.
to take a commercial break. And when
Okay.
I come back, I want us to kind of look at your program as it
Mhm.
compares to some other programs throughout the country and what your future goals for the organization are.
Okay.
Okay, we'll be right back. Thank you so much,
Uh-huh.
Minnie.
The Orangeburg County Conference Center supports downtown Orangeburg and our surrounding communities. The 6,000 plus square foot space is ideal for groups of up to 400 people attending corporate meetings, conventions, workshops, and special events. Conference Center staff are inspired to ensure that everyone can enjoy the modern amenities. State-of-the-art ballroom that accommodates up to 400 guests banquet style and 430 guests theater style. A warming kitchen with hot boxes, ice machine, refrigerator, freezer, and counter space. A lobby that accommodates 150 guests with special events outdoors. The comfortable outdoor amphitheater has a video wall and seating. Adjacent to the amphitheater is 12,000 plus square feet of green space that extends events outside, plus complimentary on-site event parking and additional parking across the street. Your event can take place all in one spectacular location. We welcome your special event in Orangeburg.
Stay tuned. You are now watching the Tammy Show. This is Roger Gas. Welcome.
Welcome back to the show. You know, we've been talking with Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson about Pathways to Wholeness, an organization that helps formerly incarcerated women just kind of help them re-enter into society. And they do that so well. And so, you know, Reverend Minnie, I as we've been talking, one of the things that comes to mind is about helping these women that have faced psychological effects from imprisonment. How do you do that? How do you assist them in that way?
Well, the first thing, when a woman comes to our facility, we do an assessment. We allow them 2 weeks to just get acclimated to being out. Things are different, you know, from the time they went in for most of them, particularly if they're coming from prison. From the detention center, that may not be the case because they've been in the community. You know, they may have violated a law or so and have been incarcerated for that infraction. But either way, being incarcerated impacts, as you just stated, impacts a person mentally. And so one of the things that we do is we require, after that first couple of days, just to get oriented to being in the home, learning where things are, maybe getting out in the surrounding community and walking and just seeing, you know, how things are in Orangeburg. One of the first things that we do is that we sign them up for medical care, dental care, podiatry care if they, you know, should need that. All the health areas are assessed. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, we require that they have an assessment at the Department of Mental Health. That's even though initially they'll say, well, I don't need it. And say, well, you know, you've been through a lot. You're coming into a new environment. And that's a change. And all I want to do is make sure that that change, that transition is smooth for you. And so every client goes to mental health. And most times they do need the care that mental health offers. And that's an array of supportive services that they can offer to our clients. And then after that, or even during that time, we're offering them life skills and mentoring for them. And any volunteer or staff person that comes on board, you know, they sign an agreement that they will display appropriate behavior because they're modeling for our clients pro-social behavior. So if a conflict comes up, how do you handle that? We talk about how do you handle that? Mm-hmm. In addition, which complements what mental health is doing. And so teaching life skills, properly cleaning a kitchen when you're finished eating, you know, to wipe the table down, the stove, and sweep the floor. You know, we take things like that for granted, but it's not necessarily the life skill that everyone has. Now, we have to be careful because we don't want to impose our beliefs on another person. So, you know, they have the freedom to be who they are. Right. What we want to do is complement that, help them build in areas that may not be quite as strong as others. And that way they will have the tools to go re-enter back into society and be successful. Wow. And that could include educational needs as well. Most of the women coming out of the prison, you know, they have the opportunity to get a degree, a high school degree. And Claflin is one of the universities, which is also located here in the city where our transitional home is. Claflin has a program where they can begin the educational process while they're incarcerated. And so when they come out, that can continue to occur. For those who have not taken advantage of that and may not be quite ready for a 4-year institution, we have Orangeburg Calhoun Technical College, and we've had a client who has attended OC Tech or Orangeburg Calhoun Technical College. And in fact, we have a client now who is interested in a program that is a collaboration between Orangeburg Calhoun Technical College and Zeus Industries.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well,
Yes.
we don't have a whole lot of time left, but there are a
Mhm.
couple of other questions that I want to ask you because it
Sure.
has to do with Pastor Wholeness. The
Mhm.
future goals for your organization. What are those future goals, and how can people help you?
Well, our I think the largest goal that we have, and that's a 5-year goal, and that is to be able to offer women coming out of prison or even in the detention center, because we get lots of calls for women who are coming out of prison, but they have young children, and
Mm-hmm.
we cannot service that population. But we'd like to be able to say, yes, we can help her and her young baby.
Mm-hmm.
So a goal is to have a facility, multi-unit facility, where that woman and her young child or children can come and stay and be rehabilitated, take advantages of the services in our community, and um, know that her child is going to be cared for, because we would
Mm-hmm.
offer child development services. I don't want to say child daycare, because we want
Right.
to make sure that we are helping to develop that
Yeah.
young child as we're helping to develop the mother.
Yeah.
And then we can connect her with an institution if she wants to get further her education, or voc rehab, vocational rehabilitation, or at South Carolina Works if she wants to get more job skills.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's our long-term goal.
Long-term goal.
That's
Wow.
the long-term goal.
That's going to be great to have that type of home in this community. And so how can the community help Pastor Wholeness?
Well, I think the immediate needs that we would have, always financial, and not if you're a nonprofit, and any donations that come in are tax deductible. We are a recognized 501c3 organization, and we are registered with the state in good standing, so anyone can check that if they so choose to do so. But our immediate need, of course, would be funds. We have one large fundraiser annually. We had our first one last year. And if I may add that Tammy was our host.
Mm,
Well, she was our mistress of ceremony. And she did a fantastic
thank you.
job. Yes. And our
Pleasure.
city administrator, Mr. Everett, calls her our Orangeburg's Oprah. But she did a fantastic job, and we were able to raise uh, pretty close to $20,000 with that event. But it's because of the community coming in and giving and helping us to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we definitely need funds. Our next fundraiser will be March the 2nd of 2024. It's a signature brunch, and it's held at the Orangeburg Country Club. And so we invite anyone to keep checking out our website, pathsofwholeness.org, and follow us, and we will have all of our upcoming events listed there. In
Yeah.
addition, we would love to have supplies for the women, um, toiletries, of course, and paper goods, paper towel, toilet tissue, uh, personal hygiene um, items for our women. We have young women who have needs, and that's an area that we definitely need help with.
Yeah. And the last question, and this has to do with you, because of the beautiful personality that you have, I'm just so grateful that we are friends and we share the sorority, of course.
Yes.
But wanting people to know, what are those three words that describe Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson?
Well, I recently received the Community Character Award for compassion. That was an honor. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even realize, that it was there, but it was awesome to receive. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say that I'm compassionate. Um, I'm a lifelong learner. I love learning. I think I'm a professional student now. I'm a lifelong learner.
uh,
And the third thing, I love God with all my
mm,
heart. I
yes.
love him. He's
Yeah.
been very good to me.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. And I just want people to know that Tammy Media Group, LLC, is having the Black Tie Masquerade this Saturday, October 21st, and portion of the proceeds will be going to Paths to Wholeness. And so we're hoping that if you want to, you can go online as well to our website, Tammy Media Group LLC, and make that donation to make sure that we support and are able to provide some great funds for Paths to Wholeness and have a good time at the same time if
And
you're
have a
in
good time.
Orangeburg.
It
That's
was a
right.
lot of fun last year. I
Yeah,
know it's
thank
going to
you.
be fantastic this year.
Well, we are counting on it, and I'm just so grateful that we're able to do that for you for Pastor Wholeness because I believe in what you're doing. I love your mission. I love God, and God put it on my heart last year when I saw you. I said, "That's it next
Yeah.
year. That's it
Yes.
next year." And so
Thank
I'm just grateful to have you. And I'm glad you had took the time out to be with me. I mean, I know it was hard getting on, but I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us tonight. And is there anything, last thing that you'd like to say to the community?
I would like to say that I appreciate what you do and how you support nonprofits. I mean, there's so many things. You're so gifted, so
Oh,
gifted. There's so many things that you could do to further your career, and instead you take time to give back. And Pastor Wholeness is blessed to have you. And I thank you for this platform because there are more people that are getting to hear about us. We'd love to say next year that we've grown from a 4-bedroom home, which we really would love to do.
mhm.
And we have a larger facility because there are women that have needs, and we'd love to be able to house them. And
That's
so thank you. And I want to say thank you for all those persons who are listening in and took time this evening to come on with us. Yes, Tammy is amazing.
Oh,
I
thank
want to
you.
thank them for coming on and being with us tonight and hearing our story.
Yeah, and creative expressions and gifts. We want to thank you as always. She's such a lovely person to be on the show. Join us, and she says congratulations. And so again, congratulations to you, Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson.
Thank you.
Congratulations to your board. You
Thank
have
you.
a great board, and you
We
all are
have a
doing.
fantastic board.
Yes, they're doing a phenomenal job. And so again, much success to you, many blessings, and I pray that God will continue to bless you.
Thank you. And I know our board members are on tonight. Kudos to you all.
Hello,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you so much for joining the show. And Reverend Minnie Anderson, thank you again for being so gracious. Love you.
Fabulous. Love you too. Good
Okay.
night.
Good night. All right, folks, you heard it right here. Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson, the founder of Paths to Wholeness. I tell you what, if you are in the area and you just want to give from your heart, you're looking for a charitable organization to give to, there are many. Don't get me wrong, there are many, but support our local organizations and help them because as she just said, it's donations that make nonprofits continue to thrive. And that's what we need in our communities, especially right here in the Orangeburg community. So again, thank you, Reverend Dr. Minnie Anderson and your board for all that you do. I'm going to say this one more time. We have got to take care of each other. All right. I can't say it enough. Next week, we're gonna treat you to a special edition of Tammy. Now it's gonna be a past Tammy from the past, a blast from the past. So just get ready for it. That's next Thursday. I want to thank my producers, Alicia, assistant producers, Tiana, Willie, Felicia. I want to thank you all so much for always doing such a fabulous job. I love you all. Remember, please subscribe to the Tammy TV show. That's on YouTube. That's my YouTube channel. And just hit that red subscribe button and listen, you'll get the notifications about when the show comes on. And so again, remember, I say, be a blessing to somebody today and every day. I love the Lord. Reverend Minnie said it. I love the Lord. She does. We love the Lord. And so that's what we know. That's what I know. And so today, be a blessing to somebody today and every day. And make sure that you check on somebody. You check on your neighbors, check on your family and friends. Let them know that you love them. All right, I'm not going to talk anymore. I just want to thank you all for joining the show. Until the next time, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.